Hi, and welcome to Chow Bella Leadership. It is the middle of the night, 3:54 a.m., and I couldn't sleep, so I figured I would create a video. um, I just wanted to share a little bit about energy healing and the importance of making sure you release negative energy from your body. And the reason that this is weighing on my mind and I haven't been able to sleep for the past couple of days is because I see my friends suffering. And, oh, sorry. I see my friends suffering and I recognize the pain on their face. And it was a pain I held on to for a lot of years. And, I found that through energy healing and the emotional release of saying what you need to say, whatever it is, get the apology off of your chest, get the rant off of your chest from feeling wronged, get whatever it is that you are holding on to, that you're desperately trying to just keep to yourself for whatever reason, because you're embarrassed or you don't want to have the conversation or whatever your reason is. I had 100 different reasons for different things I was hanging on to. But when you finally step out on that faith, find your source, whatever it is. Mine is God. He's been my rock as I've traveled around the globe trying to find the best places to heal. And that's what worked for me. But it doesn't have to be God for you. Let it be yourself. Let it be whatever you're most passionate about in the world. And use that as your inspiration and your source and do it for that person. If you can't do it for yourself yet, if you're not strong enough to love yourself enough yet, like I wasn't, use God. Not use him, but God will let you use him anytime you'd like. Use God for your strength. And then when you have your own strength back, your own personal strength back, because God will refill you if you ask him. When you have your own personal strength back, that's when it's easier to release those things to your family members and your friends and all the hurts that you've been hanging on to. And even if it's unfounded, or you think it's unfounded, or they think it's unfounded, it's not, because it's killing your body. It's causing you stress, and the things like stress and anxiety and anger and sadness and fear, all of those really uncomfortable sensations, those are all trapped dark energy. Those are things that you need to get off of your chest, or they are stored in all kinds of different places in our body. But metaphorically speaking, it's things that you need to get off of your physical body. It is physical dark energy inside the body living and weighing you down. That's what's causing the difficult emotions. And as soon as you address whatever that memory is, whatever it is, some childhood story you told yourself that, like for me, one of my childhood stories I told myself was that my mom wasn't working hard enough because we were poor and everyone around us had all kinds of money. And I blamed my mom. I was a kid. I didn't know. I thought I could be better than her. And I didn't even know that I was like that until I was walking through Spain and realized, wow, that was a story that motivated my life. It fueled me to be successful so that I didn't have to be poor. Unlike all of my cousins and all the other people in the school, I didn't have to do that with my family. That's what motivated me. But the story in my head that kept me separate from my mom for all those years, kept me competing with her rather than loving her, was a story from a little girl who doesn't understand bills, that sees we're poor and blames the person at the front of the house taking care of us because she was the one making us do chores and eat our food and, all the responsible things that a parent would do, right? But as a kid, we don't understand. We don't have the experience of parenthood to know that making our kids do chores and not bothering them with burdens are these parent things that we choose, not and they're not a lack of our efforting or parenting, right? So that was a really emotional realization that I had as I was hiking across Spain. I couldn't wait to get back and hug my mama. And sadly, I pushed her away for so many years. She's not ready for that apology yet. And I've accepted it. I get it. That's hard. But at least my body now knows the right answer. And I don't have that competition in my heart for her anymore. I suddenly have this awareness and this need and urge to just envelop her in my arms, right? So for those of you out there that haven't recognized everything that your mother did for you and appreciated her, gosh darn it, turn around and give her a hug. Give her a call. Maybe she won't let you hug her yet. I don't know. But luckily, God also reminded me all the really good things, because I started playing through my head all, wow, shoot. I'm a highly emotional person. Sorry, guys. I can't keep the tears turned off sometimes. After I had that realization, I spent a lot of time turning swords inward to myself of, oh my God, I was terrible to her. When she wanted me to clean, I bitched. When, sorry for the language, when she wanted me to watch my sisters again, I'd roll my eyes, or, just the things that teenagers do, especially the oldest. And I hated myself for that, because I realized that Mom was trying to raise 4 girls by herself. And the men in her life, while they were present sometimes they weren't. They were gone working a lot. And there were also times when they weren't very kind to her at all. And yeah, that apology was made to me when I was a little girl, but I never forgot those fists on my mom. From someone who had drank too much. And she didn't deserve it. He wanted her to come home from work. She was trying to pay bills. Anyways, it's hard to realize those things, but it's never too late, because I can tell you that even though my mom hasn't turned back around and hugged me yet, my body feels lighter and I feel free again, because God reminded me that I was an innocent child, and I had no way to know that until I was my own mom and had the same thing happen to me. So for a little while, the healing journey is a little bit more painful. At least it was for me. Because when you realize the things that you did accidentally, without meaning to, and just that's the simple nature of humans being different, right? There are 4 main communication styles. So the chances of the other person completely understanding you are 1 in a billion. We're all 100% unique beings with, if you think of our energetic shield that keeps us magnetized to the center of the earth, imagine your body on the inside of this. This is an energetic shield. Okay? And the way God explained it to me is we are all rock stars in God's garden on Mother Earth's globe, right? In the, what do you call it? Greenhouse, all right? So humans are just a plant in God's garden, all right? And the human body is wrapped up in this energetic shield, and it's just in the energy waiting until some mommy and daddy get together and it is decided that mommy and daddy either need love or need to give love, and then this prepackaged human being waiting in an energetic thing whoosh, becomes the baby for that parent, all right? And those parents, and then that baby has this predetermined entire mission that is fueled by the stars. It is powered by the stars at night, magnetized to the earth by gravity on dimension, God, our power, all of our power, your package, my package, a whole bunch of diamonds, 8 billion of them, of the human species that's planted in God's garden anyway. And you have a plan. So the things that you're suffering with, those pains, they're part of your story. They're trying to help teach you. Your body is trying to teach you to pivot. If you always follow the thread of love, this is convenient that I'm wearing my love pajamas. If you always follow the thread of love, and that means follow that feeling that feels good. When you do something and you're like, wow, that felt good, do that. When you do something and you have this high anxiety and stress and fear and worry, you go in the wrong direction. All right? So try and use that as your guide. It is hard to tell the difference in the beginning when your body is full of anxiety and fear, because it feels like everything you walk towards is that way. But I'm telling you, as you start clearing your body, I went through my whole life from the earliest memory I had forward. And as you do that, it gets easier and easier and easier to recognize, nope, I can tell right now my body is not liking this vibration. Let me turn and go this direction or this direction, right? So that's how it starts. But we're in this energetic shield, and we can't see our energetic shield. It's invisible. That's why people don't believe it. But our energetic shield is our power. It is what causes us pain to tell us to pivot and make a new choice. It is what causes us anxiety. It is what causes us happiness and joy and laughter. It is our energetic shield. It is our internal pilot system that, think of, I geek out on self-driving cars personally. I don't know, I just love technology. I love technology. And if you think about a car, a self-driving car, you could just hop in the self-driving car and put it in drive and move it, right? Well, you're not even using a fraction of the capability of that car. But when you know that it can drive itself, it can park itself, it can stay between the lanes itself, it can do all these things. Once you know how to operate it, wow, right? You're in a tree. You can do all these other things because the car's moving by itself. That's what happens with the human body. Suddenly, you're free to have all this time. Like, I have so much time now. I'm like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? You know? So it is, you have all this time for this joyous stuff, and it's like everything else just starts happening. It is like magic. But all of our, I'm sorry, I say but all the time. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to work on that. Okay. So there's 8 billion of these, of the human species. And then, of course, we've got cats. You can't see Tux right here. Hi, Tux. Cats, dogs, all kinds of different varieties in God's garden of life. But the human variety, there's 8 billion of us. And we're all energetically connected because we're all when you take them out of these individual packets, it's all the same God energy in the same atmosphere. We're all sharing it. It's the same energy that's between you and me, that's in my cells, that's in your cells, that's in this cat's cells, that's trapped up in this candle, or everything that we make. As humans, we are able to create non-living things. So energy is wrapped up in all of those things. And it's our responsibility to do the recycling, to make the energy available again, or to clean out our body when our body isn't functioning well and we're starting to get sick and we're feeling all of these addictions. And addictions can be anything. Addictions can be addictions to food, overeating, undereating, addictions to exercise, addictions to medications, prescribed and non-prescribed. It can be addictions to people, where you think you cannot succeed unless you have other people to help you. That was my biggest one. I didn't think I could succeed without a team. I know different now. My stuff is ready. It is rock solid. I love it. I have no need to launch it without my team. And quite frankly, I don't need to hire a team that isn't interested in working. So I'm just going to keep having fun for now, right? I've made that decision. That's the packet of energy. It feels the flow, and it feels that people aren't ready yet. When people are ready to work on my team, they'll come to me. And then we'll assess, where the best fit. That's one of my favorite parts of my job, is assessing people's talent development. That is my life, and my passion is recognizing what people are really, really good at and what they love. Because when you see someone that has accomplished something and they're proud of it, oh, that's a good feeling, because I can't wait to tell you about it and show you pictures and tell you how it works. And you know that person, they have the heart and the drive to go far. The challenge then as the leader is just keeping them inspired and believing in themselves, because the more they believe in themselves, the more they elevate. And the more they elevate as an individual, the more you elevate as the leader that helped give them the container to recognize their potential. True leadership is pointing out the positive in other people and helping them see it so they can elevate. When we elevate ourselves, that's absolutely, we always have to talk positive for ourselves. That has to be number one. You have to love yourself first. And then, after you love yourself and you know your skill set, you know what you're good at, you know how to do it, you know whatever, get to work doing it, and make sure you're highlighting other people's success. Sure, boast and brag about your stuff too. That's important, because it keeps you excited about what you love, right? Like, I love fashion, and I love really fancy foods, and I see all of those things as art. And to me, when I go into a really nice restaurant with caviar and I don't even know, all kinds of things, oysters, oh yum. Anyways, I recognize when it's quality and when it's been sitting back there in the kitchen, not fresh or ordered from somewhere cheap. I recognize good artistry, and I love it. And I don't know if that was just innate in me or what, because I didn't go to fancy restaurants growing up. I was poor. My mom was raising 4 girls by herself. I mean, we survived. She did anything and everything to make sure that we looked good or ate good or, whatever. But there were 4 girls that she was raising, so I was not eating at fancy restaurants when I was a little girl. I learned it. Actually, I started learning about restaurants when I got single and started working the dating scene, because it was like, Well, at home, I cooked every night as a mom. We didn't go out very often. My ex-husband, he preferred eating at home because he ate out for lunch every day, and I totally got that. Plus, we were saving money for our fun activities, racing and traveling and whatever. So spending money on restaurants wasn't something that we wanted to do. But then when I went through the divorce and, I tried to date and people would say, well, where would you like to go? And I had no idea because I hadn't really explored this lovely city that I lived in my whole life. And so I started creating this beautiful list. Now, since COVID, so many of those places have closed so my list needs updated. But I created this beautiful list of all the restaurants that I really enjoyed or I wanted to go to because I'd heard good rumblings about or whatever. And I just started going one by one to these restaurants, whether I went with a date or by myself or tried to drag along one of my sisters or mom that aren't too keen on fancy food. Something like that. I try to drag my kids every now and then, but I started seeing food as art. It was fun for me. And then fashion, I met a couple of different girls in my adult life that had a big impact for me style-wise. I used to have this rule, never spend more than $39.99 on a pair of shoes or a purse. Until I got out and started seeing fashion, and I'm like, oh, but I love that, it's so pretty. And I started spending a lot more money because, well, I wasn't spending all my money on the kids and family anymore. They were like done with me for now anyway. So I started spending it on myself, and I bought myself I loved clothes. But eventually I realized that didn't satisfy me either. And I was searching for something, lots of something. So I explored all sorts of things. Theater, just making movies, which is very similar to making training content, which I've done for many, many years. I played around in everything. Like, what do I like? What do I want to do now? My whole life is flipped upside down. And at the end of the day, I just came running back to family. I still wanted to do what I had always been doing because it's my passion. I studied the mind. I've studied it since I was 5, the youngest memory at 4, the youngest memory that I have. I've been studying the mind and family dynamics and personal energy, and I didn't realize it until I did this reflection. And something multiple people have said to me in my life is, don't psychoanalyze me. And I was offended and hurt because it was my passion and people didn't understand it or want to learn it. And so I just kind of kept quiet about it and didn't really tell people what I did. And I would say most of my friends and my family really didn't know what I did for a living. Some of them might have a little bit of I think most of them just thought, oh, she does training. I hate that. Oh my goodness. Training is, yes, that is a small part of running a learning organization, an empire. And I've worked for banks, law firms, investment firms, working with CEOs and all the leadership and all the employees in the company to help them figure out where were the best fits, how come your employees aren't performing for you, why are you having issues, what training needs to happen, what leadership development needs to happen, what growth and priming needs to happen, succession planning to figure out who's going to go into that role next, what corrective actions need to be taken, whatever. I helped these organizations do that, and I loved it. I loved standing up on stage and doing the training piece and helping the leaders and the coaching. That was one of my favorite parts, but that's only a small portion of what I do. So when people say training, it's a little frustrating, but I realize now it was me not expressing truly what my talent is because I had heard people tell me so many times, don't psychoanalyze me. And I think the reason that I get that comment is because I'm right. And because I study the energy and have since I was a small child, I don't study the words coming out of your mouth. I study your mannerisms, your body language, your breath patterns, your muscle tensions. I mean, I can't even tell you the little things that I notice. I can be in a restaurant and see across the room when a couple I don't even know, there's some tension happening. Or, I have naturally gravitated toward that, I guess because I was trying to figure things out my whole life, trying to figure out what's the real truth versus what I'm hearing, because I'm hearing several different adults saying different stories about the same situation, and it was confusing as a kid. So I'm just like trying to figure it out. So I've been studying this my whole life, and when I would actually in the workplace, people were expecting it, but with my family and friends, when I would do that, it was a little, well, it was unwelcomed. They didn't want my advice. And I got that. I understood it. So I just kind of backed off. But I am realizing now, as I went through the journey of self-love, that was what I was lacking. I was lacking self-love. I went and started my family. I moved out at 15. I know that sounds crazy, but I was just determined and ready to have my own family, launch my own empire. I was ready to go at 15 in my California Raisins t-shirt. I was ready. And I did. I mean, I built my life. Who else could be 46? All of their kids raised. All three of my boys are raised. I don't know what to do with myself. I've got all this time, still able-bodied. Like, now what? So I think that's really pretty beautiful that I started that young. At the same time, I hadn't given myself a chance to know who I was outside of my mom and sisters and before I went into having my own children. Now, I did it purposely and intentionally. Yeah, I know, most people judge me for that too, but whatever, I was ready. And I'm still glad I did it that young. But now that I reflect on it all, I think, I see where I made my errors in leadership the first go around. And that was simply not loving myself enough to ensure that I would say things like, listen, I know this is uncomfortable and you don't want to talk about it, but here's what I know. And actually explaining and holding tall in my core strength of, yes, I know this to be true. I know it's uncomfortable and I know you're going to push back. So I'm supposed to still push forward rather than retreat, right? But from a place of not having that self-love about your talent, not having that self-love and confidence that you know what is right because you have studied it, you have worked hard, all the pains in your life, all the joys in your life, it all lines up. When you start evaluating, you will see your pains and joys, they're on the same spectrum. Master that spectrum, that is your talent. Whatever your pains, are and people are judging you for and crucifying you for, that's also your purpose. So polish your belief, stand up for yourself, know who you are, and you will be unstoppable. I promise. It's it feels like a balloon deflating, like the dark energy coming out and this balloon just starts like maybe you had just started to blow up the balloon but you hadn't tied it yet, and then you just kind of let it go and the balloon just kind of floats up. That is what it feels like as the dark energy leaves us, as we start having this realization and acceptance of the innocence of our mistakes and why we've held on to things for so long. That starts to dissipate. But notice that the balloon is still elevating as the air comes out, right? All right. So when your dark energy comes out, you elevate. All right? You elevate. And so if you're feeling too heady in things, you're feeling like, I just can't get focused and grounded, and I've got all these ideas but I don't know what to do. If you're like that, you need grounding. I was like that yesterday, and so what I did, it's 4:24 in the morning, so yesterday, today, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yesterday was I walked down to the World War I Museum and put my feet in the grass for a while, connected to Mother Earth. I watched some video that the soles of our shoes, the rubber, doesn't allow the magnetic forces from Mother Earth that recharge us to get into our body. So you actually have to take your shoes off and get your feet in the grass on Mother Earth to recharge. And I've done this several times since I learned about that, and I cannot believe how huge it's massively impactful. So that's a technique for grounding. And then I talked to you about the techniques for releasing negative energy. Those are two things that I would say definitely put in your tool belt and master. Huge. The other best practice that I would say is pivotal is I call it my daily practice. And I do twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. But every morning, first thing, I wake up and I think about, all right, what are 2 things I'm going to work on today? One thing I'm excited about and one thing that challenges me. Those are the 2 things I'm going to work on. So I stand in my board in the morning, or sometimes just walk around with that one, but usually stand at my board and my calendar scheduler and figure out what are my 2 things going to be for today. And I was one of those people that was a huge long list person. I scrapped the list. Now it's just 2 main concepts. 2 main concepts that I want to work on. Whether I get 12 things on that concept accomplished that day or just 1, it doesn't matter. I've worked on 1 thing challenging and 1 thing that I'm excited about, because you need a little balance. And for me personally, I would choose my challenging thing in the morning and then my fun thing in the afternoon. It depended on the day, but I'm more productive in the morning, so my challenging item I did there. By afternoon, my brain doesn't want to focus as much, and so that's more time for my fun or exercise. That's kind of how I do it, but you can do it differently. So I would work on my morning thing, and then I would go and exercise in the afternoon, and I would use that time on the treadmill or outside running or whatever to start thinking about my afternoon thing that I had chosen for the day. All right, so that was kind of my transition moment. And then each evening, I have a Buddha statue over here and my rosary for Jesus Christ, and I will stand there and just reflect on my day and talk to God about what's one thing that went really well today, what's one thing that challenged me today, and if I need help with anything, what do I need help with? And I try to come up with at least 1 thing a day that I can ask my higher self or God, however you want to label it, for assistance. And I go to sleep with that on my mind. And it works. I'm telling you, it works. You can say, like the other day, I said, I want to wake up with a dream I can remember that gives me some guidance to move forward on. And I did. I woke up with a vivid dream that I could journal, because I said I want to be able to wake up and journal it, because I was getting frustrated. I wasn't remembering those anymore. So anyways, whatever your needs are, you ask yourself for it, let it settle in your heart while you're sleeping, and you'll wake up with some resolution. Maybe it's you need help with whatever you're going to be working on tomorrow that's challenging, and you want to plant some seeds of give me some inspiration or ideas on how to tackle that tomorrow. That might be your thing. Whatever it is, that's the daily practice that I use every single day religiously, and it has transformed my life. Transformed it. I still cry when I feel like people don't get me, or when I want the hug from my mom after I've apologized and I don't get it, or we still have those things, because we have to recognize that the other humans on the planet, they have to go through their time as well, and just because you're there doesn't mean they're there yet. And I think God's teaching me patience. No, God did teach me patience a long time ago. I learned that. I mastered that lesson. I've got it. But anyways, I lost track of what I was saying there, but it gets easier. And the sooner you stop being so hard on yourself and start giving yourself the things that you deserve, despite what it looks like all around you, because my tendency, because of the nature of my work, is to try and help everyone else first and then help myself, but that leads to a sinking ship. So you have to learn to reach out and ask for help when you need it. And if you don't want to ask another human, like I didn't, because I was in so much fear by the time I finally went on my journey to heal myself, if you can't feel like you can trust another human, then God is always there. And I say, if you don't want to call him God, say talk to yourself. So it's the best practice. No one else will always give you the truth except for yourself. Period. When you talk to yourself, you will always tell it to yourself straight. All right? Dude, you were an asshole in that moment. Or, dude, you deserve an apology. Or, you look great today. Or, oh, you could use to lose a little weight. Or, you're looking a little tired. Right? We tell ourselves these things. Now, we have to remember, especially in the beginning, when we're feeling anxiety and fear and depression, that we have to not focus on the negative things then. I don't want to hear you say you're fat, or your hair's a mess, or your clothes are a mess. I want to hear you say, Heather, you look beautiful even though you're in your pajamas and it's 4:32 in the morning. Who cares if they can see your TV behind you and there's glare everywhere and your lighting isn't perfect? It's okay. You have to start telling yourself the positive things and not the stories of, well, no one's going to want to watch your video. It's not going to go viral. It's not going to this. It's not going to that, because you don't have your lighting right. You're not wearing the right clothes. You didn't put your makeup on. You didn't put your contacts in. Oh, come on. You see what I mean? We have all these things that we do when we're making excuses to be small. When we stop making excuses to be small and we choose to be who we know we are, when we choose to be the perfect divine gift that we are, you'll start to shine. And no one can take it away from you anymore, because you're like, they're bad. I wonder what's going on in their story. I wonder what happened to them. That's how you start seeing it. What happened to them? I actually saw that on one of Oprah's shows. I want to say it was Will Smith wrote a book, and there was a line in his book that said, start asking what happened to you, or thinking that, as opposed to turning, why are they mad at me, right? It's not about you. Everything is not about you. It's about what they're going through. And we always think it's about us. That's why the swords are so razor sharp. And as soon as we realize that when we fix ourselves, wow, that starts fixing everybody else, because it is this big, huge divine matrix, this grid, that when you pivot, all the other energies around are forced to pivot, because either you've removed yourself and now it makes this one have to do something else, or, whatever. You get the picture. You know how it works now. So work on yourself. Love yourself. For God's sakes, love yourself. Figure out what you do well. I don't care if it's mopping floors or combing someone's hair or brushing people's teeth. Whatever you love that you're good at, we polish that and we elevate you. We make you the best of the best at that, because it is your divine gift to this world. And the longer that you're sitting there sad and depressed and anxious and in fear, the less time you have to enjoy the gift that you have to give the world. Instead, you're suffering with your gift instead of enjoying it, because it's the same gift. You just have to recognize it and start utilizing it. And what I recognized is I didn't know how to sell myself. Period. I didn't know how to sell myself. It gives me great anxiety to ask people for money. I hate it. And math was my favorite subject in school. I loved it. That's why I went into banking. And I loved working on my finances at home and building our house finance structure and bills and retirement and all of that. But when it came to asking people to pay me for something or whatever, oh gosh, I couldn't do that. It was so much easier for me to offer assistance than to ask for it. It was just my Achilles heel, I guess. I don't know. I had to learn. And now I hope you can tell that I'm proud of what I know and what I've mastered since I was a little girl. I know it to be fact. I've tested it on my own body. I've healed myself completely, got off all of my medications with the exception of one, which I have to have because my thyroid is removed. So I went from 9 medications to one, and I am fit. I can't even keep weight on anymore, and it is not because I'm not eating. I eat. I eat plenty, but I've got so much free time to have fun, and I'm exercising and running and walking and hula hooping, and it's just, my body is like, yes, finally, she sees who she is. So there you go. That's my secret to success. I really hope that some others try it out there. Tell me how it works for you. I want to hear success stories. And if you've learned other things, like, I don't know, when I watched the one about the actually taking your shoes off for Mother Earth, it was a game changer. So I'm sure there are other things out there that you've learned here or there that work for you and might work for others. Share them in the comments. Let this be a portal of us helping each other go back to one divine energy in God's garden by sharing love and how you did it and how you're a rock star. That's what I want to see. Tell me your rock star story. You literally are a rock star, a diamond rock star in God's garden. You are. And I love you. And whether Whether you love me or not, I don't care. I love me. So, we are one energy, and we are the energy of love, God. Love is our power. When you follow the thread of love, you will get there. It's amazing. Amazing grace. It really is a beautiful thing. So, take care. Peace. Love, happiness. I guess this is what I was meant to do at 4 in the morning today. But I feel better. Maybe I'll be able to sleep now. Take care. And someone help me find a better button. These buttons work really great. So I'm just going to go ahead and have a side talk on this because it's driving me nuts. And I don't want to research it anymore. So I have my TV. And I project you can see the TV in the reflection of my mirror right now, actually. So what I do is I project my phone onto my smart TV so that I can make sure that the camera angle is right or the lighting or whatever. I can just see how you're going to see me. And that Bluetooth connection, I think, interferes with the Bluetooth connection for my shutter button on the phone. I don't know. It's silly. Sometimes it'll work. Sometimes it won't. But I think it's the one thing that I'm going to finally get someone to say, here is a button that works. So if you know a button that works and you have one, please send it to me. But it has to work with multiple Bluetooth devices because, cords are messy and I love technology. And so I like things to, anyways, I won't bore you with all the details of how I geek out on technology, but I've been frustrated with a simple little button. The shutter button, it doesn't want to work with multiple Bluetooth. So if you have an answer for me, I would love it. Otherwise, I'll add it to my list of something to research on a different day. It's not a high priority item right now. All right, take care. Peace, love, happiness, and all the good stuff. See you soon. Getting up to get the button.